So I'm excited we get a chance to chat today and share what we're talking about with some other people. Um, so the reason we wanted to get together is because I host for my paying subscribers a monthly gathering where we do all sorts of activities. And you've joined some of those. So we did a Wheel of Life and we got creative. And then um, last month we did kind of a reflection looking back at the last year. And so, and so I host these monthly gatherings. And I've done this coaching with collage workshop with you twice. One was, I think, beginning of last year was, kind of an intention setting for 2025. And then another one towards the end of last year. I think you had kind of advertised it as a looking back at the year and doing some reflection. And I really struggled with knowing what I wanted to really ask and what my question was going to be. So I ended up just choosing, what do you want me to know? Like just tapping into my subconscious, just asking what wants to show up, and created a beautiful collage. And the words, or some of the words that were on is time well spent. And then I took that phrase, was kind of my phrase that I carried with me for the rest of 2025, trying to be more mindful and really thinking about what does time well spent mean for me. Um, yeah. And making sure I'm spending my time in kind of an intentional way that works for me. So anyway, and then I thought, hey, this would be a great opportunity for us to team up and work together. And I asked you if you would come and host that workshop for my subscribers. And so that's what we're going to do on Friday. And so we thought today we would get together and talk a bit about what even is coaching with collage. Talk a bit about art and coaching, how those two things mix, and kind of what to expect. So as we started chatting, like the first question I had for you is, how did you get introduced to art and coaching, or more specifically coaching with collage? Where was that first experience for you?
Mm-hmm. So I can answer that. Before I do, actually, it's interesting what you were saying, because I wanted to share, actually. So it's a nice thing to share almost straight away. But this is a collage that I made at the beginning of last year. And then you might see here, it says cool collabs. And I stuck it on, and because I wanted to do some cool collaborations. And actually, this is probably like the first one that's nice. Come up as a result of that. And this is definitely what I would call a cool collaboration. So that's fun to just share that for a moment. So how did I get into art and coaching? I think, so I was thinking about this today, and I was thinking, like, actually all coaching, I feel, is creative, because we're always thinking about a situation and trying to have a new insight or learn something more about ourselves, and maybe come up with something to kind of try something different, like an experiment. Or so I think all of that is kind of creative, and then bringing more creativity, I think, just obviously like makes it more. And actually, to my personal experience, but it's backed up by the science as well, is that using art just helps us to go deeper and go into sort of non-verbal language as well. So where we don't have language for something, but pictures and images can help us, and it can help bring up they talk like latent ideas. So I guess that's thoughts you've had but you don't realize you've had, or thoughts you've forgotten. And I think apparently it's very good at sort of bringing that up. And I think, so obviously we did our coach training together, and one of the key things for coaching is to get out the way, for us to be out the way, and it's a time for the person that we're working with to do their thinking and have their ideas, and we just want to help draw it out of them, really. And I think, again, using art is to me, it's like one of the easiest ways to get out the way. So, and I'm always like trying to get out the
Mm-hmm.
way. And this is a way that I think it's really easy because you're kind of you're handing everything to the person you're working with, in a very concrete
Mm-hmm.
way.
I love that. I hadn't thought about it that way. That makes so much sense. And it's on the other end too, it helps slow things down a lot, right? You can then really be with whatever you are creating in the moment, whether that's a longer time for a collage or even um yeah, kind of some shorter, okay, do 7 minutes of drawing or something on a specific question. It just helps be really present and slow down and tap into whatever is whatever is coming up. Yeah, that's great. Um, and then I'm gonna maybe jump around with questions all a little bit all over the place, but feel free to also take it in whatever direction that you want to go in. Um, but one that just jumps right out at me, and you had shared something about that on your Substack as well, but kind of the idea of isn't it how is this different from um like a vision board or yeah, kind of a goal setting for the year when you do coaching with collage? Like how can you really yeah, use that?
Yeah, so I think so it is really different from a vision board. And I think, yeah, I wrote a post which said, isn't that just an expensive vision board? Um,
Mhm.
and because with a vision board, I think we've already done some thinking and we've already got some ideas. So um, we're thinking, oh, we've already thought, oh, next year I want to spend more time outdoors, or next year I really, I want to sort of have success in these areas. And then you go looking for pictures that support your vision. So, if you want to be financially successful, maybe you've got looking for pictures of an amazing holiday or a new kitchen or, whatever reason or,
Mhm.
part of money. So,
Mhm.
whereas if you go into it as you did, like with an open question, what do you want me to know, or what don't I know yet, or um, what matters most next year, and then and you'll remember me sharing that we kind of look through a magazine and we try to go without thinking, and we try to go quite quickly and
Mhm.
pick out the words or the pictures that kind of jump out at us. And I always say you might have a picture that you kind of know it wants to be torn out, but you don't like it. So you just keep going, but it's kind of still there asking you. And I have an example of that in this one from last year, which is this kind of weather sign,
Mhm.
which I didn't, I didn't really want to pick it out. It was like yellow and black and then it also had like lightning on. I was like, I don't want lightning in my 2025. But the overall idea was this kind of life in full color. And I was like, oh, and I just had to go back. I was like, I know it wants to be there. So I kind of put it on and I thought, oh, well, it's life in full color in good times and bad, if it's raining or it's nice. And little did I know that my 2025 would have a fair bit of lightning in it.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, yeah, I had some ups and downs last year. And then when I looked up at it on my wall, it was kind of like a reassurance, like, um, whether it's God or the universe knew that this was coming, or just that's life, right? Life's always got its ups and downs. Um, and it was a reassurance, it's okay. It's like, it's
Mhm.
part of life and the sun will come back from behind the cloud. And yes, you still should be looking for life in full colour amidst that sort of drama or greyness or difficulty. Um, so that idea of the things that you would never have picked out
Mhm.
that's like a great illustration. But yeah, you're letting the pictures tell you what to pull out.
Mhm.
And I guess there's also a picture of a man stretching, which the theme of colour had been kind of going around my head already. But those two and the ID, the kind of identity and the core collaborations, like all of that was just what kind of jumped out itself because I had that very open question.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's interesting because I mentioned this well, she'll be okay if I call her out here. I mentioned this to my sister and said, "Oh, we're having this workshop coaching with Collage." And she said, "Oh, that's great. I already have like some images that I've been collecting and I already have some cool things and I really want to create a collage and I might, want to do that." And right away I said, "Well, you can do that and we can get together to create a beautiful collage, but this isn't the purpose of this. It's not about making it, you know, beautiful or using images that
Mm,
we might want to put together or is like a created kind of thing. It really is that intuitive process, um, right? The way you're flipping through. And you always say too, to not only use magazines that are, ones that you would normally
mm,
grab, but maybe
mhm.
also have one in there that, doesn't, initially
Feel
appeal to
yeah.
you. Yeah. Just to see what
Yeah,
comes
I have
up.
a friend who's given me some cycling magazines, which doesn't appeal to me so much, although it often has nice scenery, which does. But then
Mhm,
my son, as you know, is into boxing, which is like the last thing that I would ever be into. And occasionally I'll go through those. And yeah, it's just, again, it just gives you your subconscious the opportunity to see something different and maybe to see something different in that something different.
mhm,
Because that's the other thing that's always so interesting when people show me their collage and I kind of invite them to tell me the story of their collage. And I might see a picture. Well, I will, I'll see a picture and I'll immediately process that picture myself with my
mhm,
own kind of perspective and everything. And then nearly always someone will say, "Oh, and then I chose this picture because blah, blah, blah. And this is what it means to me." And it's always something completely different. And
mhm,
that's one of the most amazing things as well.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and that's right. That is such a so it's also not only about creating the image, but then also taking some time to really look at what am I noticing here? What's standing out? Yeah, what kind of showed up? I'm looking back over at mine that's hanging on my wall over here. Yeah. Um, should we talk a bit more specifics? You already mentioned some of the things of kind of what to expect, but we have um 90 minutes planned for it. Yeah, kind of what's the process? What are we folks who will be joining, yeah, kind of walk us through a little bit what the expectations are for our time together on Friday.
Sure. So I'll start with the materials. So it's nice to work on A3, which is very British paper size, but it's kind of like letter size times two or A4
Mhm,
size times two. Um, so I love using that. So if you have that, brilliant. If not, you can tape two pieces of printer paper together, just sellotape them together. That's perfect. So you want that. You want some glue, just a glue stick. You might want some scissors. You can tear. You might want scissors so you can tear or cut, depending on which you feel like on the day. And then probably average of three, probably 3 or 4 magazines is nice to have handy. And as you said, it's nice to have some different ones. Um, so you might have one that is your regular magazine. That's great.
mhm,
You might have some free ones that you can pick up at a store, or the library. You might have some that a friend or neighbour might be recycling. If people are coming together, no, or if people are coming who know each other, they can swap
mhm,
as well. So yeah, 3 or 4 magazines, and that's all. So the magazine, scissors, glue stick, and the um, paper. And in terms of the process, so we'll spend a bit of time coming up with the question. And I know we're sort of running it in the new year, so it might be, what does 2026 want me to know, or
mhm,
what's important to me in 2026? Some people might be exploring a word for the year, so it could be like, what's my word? What might my word be? I love your question. What don't I know yet? Like,
mhm,
just an amazing question. Um, or it can be about your identity as well. Like, who do I want to be in 2026? Or if you're maybe some of your identity is changing or you want it to change, you can be like, who am I as a leader next year, or who do I want to be? So anything like that. But we'll spend time sort of exploring that together. And then there's kind of 3 stages to the collage. So there's the kind of that first gathering of your images, and then you do end up with a pile. And then I tend to do a quick sort out of those to see which ones you really want and which ones don't belong. Then we spend a bit of time sticking down and again, trying to be quite intuitive about it, not designing it, just kind of putting them where they want to go. And then we'll have a bit of time to do that sense making and for people to share if they'd like to, the kind of story of their collage. And, you know, we, others in the group, like we might notice things about those collages. Some people might want to just keep them quite private. That's fine too. And I can share some follow-up questions as well afterwards for people to continue to kind of engage and ponder what's come up for them. So yes, it's quite a simple process, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, a nice time together as well. A nice time, like I'll be creating as well, and know you will. So yeah, it's nice to be in it together.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I really loved the bit about the question in the beginning, because I've been thinking about, you know, everybody right now who's like, ugh, don't come at me with intentions for the new year, and you know, nature is still sleeping, so you know, let me rest. You know, that's totally cool.
Yeah.
And so this really isn't meant to be a, you know, goal setting for the year, what's coming up. It can be a very gentle approach just to see what's coming up if anybody wants to, yeah, focus on the new year. And I remember that was me for last year as well. I wanted that spaciousness to really, and I just actually wrote this down in my journal this morning as well, to really take the next couple of weeks not to rush into action, but just to, and I like using the beginning of the year, you know, but really taking it slow and spacious and seeing kind of what comes up instead of just a list of smart goals. Like that's just not
Yeah.
me. And so I think this fits in really well, just to be like a gentle kind of, you know, for anybody who might especially not feel ready to really ask some of those questions, of what the year has to bring, to kind of, yeah, let the subconscious intuition bubble to the surface and see kind of what comes up. And if anybody wants to just, yeah, I love your identity questions too, take a completely different spin on it, that's also fine.
Yeah, I love that, because I think the new year finds you in different places. And so, you know, 5 or 10 years ago, I was a massive like goal setter and, you know, very like 1st of January, let's get to it. And I've really kind of changed into like much more, well, where am I? Like, what's going on? What do I feel like? And especially like, I think it was two years ago, I was like, oh, I'm really not interested in the new year at all. I'm going to wait and do everything, all my New Year's stuff in March. And then if you're feeling like that, you might just come and be like, okay, so what do I need what do I need to do now? If I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm still the middle of winter, I'm happy to wait till the 21st of March or the 1st of March or the first daffodil or when I just feel like it, then what might I need between now and then? Like, what more rest do I need? Or what more nourishment do I need? And actually I was, so another creative thing that I like to do is like a street wisdom. It's called Street Wisdom. It's like a walking exercise. And they sent some ideas for questions for the new year. And one of them, it was like, what's my word? But it was like, what's my word for today, for the day, stroke week, stroke month, stroke year. So also the timeline, it doesn't have to be a year. It can be as short or as long as you want.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, I'm trying to see what else. I'm going to look at my questions and I'm going to see if there's anything I've missed. But is there anything that you can think of, anything that we haven't covered that we want to make sure we talk about?
So I think there's a couple of things that are on my mind. So one of them, like you asked at the beginning, sort of why art, and then you also referred back to one of your sessions that I joined, which was it was a wheel of life, and
Mm-hmm.
I think, and kind of what I want to say is, I think like art adds more to everything, and it's specifically in that wheel of life exercise. So we did a wheel of life, we wrote on it. And one of the other people actually that was on the call, when she
Mm-hmm.
held up her wheel of life, it had some amazing pictures on. And I was like, oh my gosh, why am I not doing pictures? And then when I started adding pictures, I had kind of little, kind of like icons, but I was just drawing them in of what fitted in each box, like work or home or family, what have you. And then as I did that, I realised how much overlap there was. But then,
Mm-hmm.
um, so in the wheel of life, for anyone who doesn't know, so you kind of have a circle and it's from 0 to 10 to the middle, and you kind of score different things, and then you can join it up to make a shape. And then after the call, I was then, and if you know Hannah, you'll know about her line drawing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the space round the edge between where I'd scored it and the edge, I then did lines. And it made me think, oh my gosh, it's like, I was thinking more about how I filled up that extra space rather
Mm-hmm.
than, oh my gosh, how do I get from a 7 to a 10? Again, it's like moving away from that goal to just,
Mm-hmm.
or what is the beauty around the edges that you're not a 10, but that's creating space for more beauty or, anyway, that was just
Mm-hmm.
something in my head. And then that brings me on to the question. Sometimes people say, "Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do coaching with collage. I'm not a very visual person." Or they'll say, "Oh my gosh, I'm not artistic at all." And
Mm-hmm.
so to just say, if anyone's listening or watching who thinks that like that's not needed at all, um,
Mm-hmm.
because it is about your intuition, and then it's just following that. It's not about making something beautiful. It's
Mm-hmm.
about letting what's inside come out, and actually that will be beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that real kind of welcome to anyone. And I've had a couple of people that have come and said, "Oh, I'm not sure it'll work for me as well." And then they've come out saying, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea that something like that would come
Mm-hmm.
out." So yeah, really encourage people to just come and have a go, and well, you won't need any looking after, but we'll look after you if you do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that point. Um, yeah. So yeah, some folks might need a little bit of courage, but then yeah, I think you're absolutely right because it's also so much about being present and in the moment and just trusting the process and letting whatever
Mm,
happens happen and show up on the page. Um, and even if that then means, it was time well spent just to be with some magazines flipping through and creating something, um, something will come up, something interesting will be there, whatever it is.
mm.
Um, okay. Um, I looked through my questions and we've kind of, um, in roundabout ways, covered most of it. Um, but then I guess maybe just to close it out. So we're meeting on Friday. Oh my gosh, what time?
So it's
It's
6:30
10.
in the evening for me in
Okay,
the UK. So
it's
that's the GMT time.
it's, it's 10:30 Pacific time. Yeah. Um,
Okay.
um, and then for anybody who might not be available, then you are also offering this at the moment for one-on-one. Is that right? That
Mhm.
people can just book an
Yeah.
individual session with you?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And there's a link that post is kind of pinned on my Substack, so it's easy to find. Yeah.
mhm. Okay, that's fantastic. Well, I'm really excited. Now I feel like, well, maybe I do want to find another couple of magazines that are different from what I normally have. I have a few days. See if anybody has one. I'm really excited for our time together, and the just knowing that we have time set aside to just be curious about, or for me, I will focus on kind of I haven't exactly phrased the question yet. I'm going to wait until Friday to do that, but it will be kind of about the year and what the year has to offer. Maybe something like that, what the year has to offer for me, or what I have to offer for the year. I don't know. But I love just knowing that I don't have to stress about it or figure it all out. I can trust that I'll show up on Friday and we'll do it together, and something interesting will appear. And I really look forward to being um, together with others. A few people have signed up for it already, and yeah, I'm really excited. So yeah, if this piqued your interest, and I haven't even said, a couple people are here and are listening in. Hi. If anybody has questions, message me. I'll send this out. I'll share the replay in a video as well. So if anybody has questions about anything, ask away. And then I hope, yeah, a few of you will join us on Friday and create a beautiful collage. And if you can't make it Friday, then I'll include that in my email as well. The link to your post if anybody wants to book an individual session with you. Okay. I think that's
Great.
it. Now I feel like I should have had like a perfect wrap-up line.
I think that's a good wrap
But
up. Yeah, and I'm excited to be there too. Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. I'm excited to see what what questions people pick and what they create. And yeah, I always love seeing other people's collages and talking them through. So yeah, thank you for inviting me. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay, awesome, Victoria. Then yeah, we'll end it here. I'll see you Friday, and I really look forward to it.
See you Friday.
Okay. Bye.